Hi guys, I'm back. Today is the 5th of August 2021. Today I'm going to read 1 Samuel 26 to 30, Proverbs 5 and Psalm 69. Let's get started. Some people from Ziph went to Saul at Gibeah. They said, David is hiding on the hill of Hachilah. It faces Jeshurun. So Saul went down to the desert of Ziph. He took 3,000 of the best soldiers in Israel with him. They went to the desert to look for David. Saul set up his camp beside the road. It was on the hill of Hachilah facing Jeshurun. But David stayed in the desert. He saw that Saul had followed him there. So he sent out scouts. From them he learned that Saul had arrived. Then David started out. He went to the place where Saul had camped. He saw where Saul and Abner were lying down. Saul was lying inside the camp. The army was camped all around him. Abner was commander of the army. He was the son of Ner. Then David spoke to Ahimelech. He also spoke to Joab's brother Abishai, the son of Zeruiah. He asked them, "Who will go down with me into the camp with Saul?" "I'll go with you," said Abishai. So that night David and Abishai went into the camp. They found Saul lying asleep inside the camp. His spear was stuck in the ground near his head. Abner and the soldiers were lying asleep around him. Abishai said to David, "Today God has handed your enemy over to you. So let me pin him to the ground. I can do it with one jab of the spear. I won't even have to strike him twice." But David said to Abishai, "Don't destroy him. No one can do any harm to the Lord's anointed king and not be guilty. You can be sure that the Lord lives," he said, "and you can be just as sure that the Lord himself will strike Saul down. Perhaps he'll die a natural death, or perhaps he'll go into a battle and be killed. May the Lord keep me from doing anything to harm his anointed king. Now get the spear and water jug that are near his head. Then let's leave." So David took the spear and water jug that were near Saul's head. Then he and Abishai left. No one saw them. No one knew about what they had done. In fact, no one even woke up. Everyone was sleeping. That's because the Lord had put them into a deep sleep. David went across to the other side of the valley. He stood on top of a hill far away from Saul's camp. There was a wide space between them. He called out to the army and to Abner, the son of Ner. He said, "Abner, aren't you going to answer me?" Abner replied, "Who is calling out to the king?" David said, "You are a great soldier, aren't you? There isn't anyone else like you in Israel. So why didn't you guard the king? He's your master, isn't he? Someone came into your camp to destroy him. You didn't guard him, and that isn't good. You can be sure that the Lord lives, and you can be sure that you and your men must die. That's because you didn't guard your master. He's the Lord's anointed king. Look around you. Where are the king's spear and water jug that were near his head?" Saul recognized David's voice. He said, "My son David, is that your voice?" David replied, "Yes, it is, King Saul, my master." He continued, Why are you chasing me? What evil thing have I done? What am I guilty of? King Saul, please listen to what I'm saying. Was it the Lord who made you angry with me? If it was, may he accept my answer. Was it people who made you angry at me? If it was, may the Lord see them cursed. They've driven me today from my share of the Lord's land. By doing that, they might as well go and serve other gods. Don't spill my blood on the ground far away from where the Lord lives. King Saul, you have come out to look for nothing but a flea. It's as if you were hunting a partridge in the mountains." Then Saul said, "I have sinned, my son David. Come back. Today you thought my life was very special. So I won't try to harm you again. I've really acted like a foolish person. I've made a huge mistake. Here's your spear," David answered. Send one of your young men over to get it. The Lord rewards everyone for doing what is right and being faithful. He handed you over to me today, but I wouldn't harm you. You are the Lord's anointed king. Today I thought your life had great value. In the same way, may the Lord think of my life as having great value. May he save me from all trouble." And Saul said to David, "May the Lord bless you, David, my son. You will do great things. You will also have great success." So David went on his way, and Saul returned home. David thought, "Someday Saul will destroy me, so the best thing I can do is escape. I'll go to the land of the Philistines. Then Saul will stop looking for me everywhere in Israel. His hand won't be able to reach me." So David and his son left Israel. They left to Achish, the king of Gath. They went to Achish, the king of Gath. He was the son of Malach. David and his men made their homes in Gath near Achish. Each of David's men had his family with him. David had his 2 wives with him. They were Ahinoam from Jezreel and Abigail from Carmel. Abigail was Nabal's widow. Saul was told that David had run away to Gath, so he didn't look for David anymore. David said to Achish, "If you are pleased with me, give me a place in one of your country towns. I can live there. I don't really need to live near you in the royal city." So on that day, Achish gave David the town of Ziklag. It has belonged to the kings of Judah ever since that time. That David lived in Philistine territory for a year and 4 months. Sometimes David and his men would go up and attack the Geshurites. At other times they would attack the Girzites or the Amalekites. All those people who had lived in the land that reached all the way to Shur in Egypt. They had been there for a long time. When David would attack an area, he wouldn't leave a man or woman alive, but he would take their sheep, cattle, donkeys, camels, and clothes. Then he would return to Achish. Achish would ask, "Who did you attack today?" David would answer, "The people who live in the Negev desert of Judah." Or he would answer, "The people in the Negev desert of Jeremiah." Or he would answer, "The people in the Negev desert of the Kenites." David wouldn't leave a man or woman alive to be brought back to Gath. He thought, they might tell Achish who we really attacked. That's what David did as long as he lived in Philistine territory. Achish trusted David. He thought, David's own people, the Israelites, can't stand him anymore, so he'll be my servant for life. While David was living in Ziklag, the Philistines gathered their army together. They planned to fight against Israel. Achish said to David, "Here's what you must understand. You and your men must march out with me and my army." David said, "I understand. You'll see for yourself what I can do." Achish replied, "All right, I'll make you my personal guard for life." Samuel had died. The whole nation of Israel was filled with sorrow because he was dead. They had buried him in his own town of Ramah. Saul had thrown out of the land people who get messages from those who have died. He had also thrown out people who talk to the spirits of the dead. The Philistines gathered together and set up camp at Shur. At the same time, Saul gathered together all the Israelites. They set up camp at Gilgal. When Saul saw the Israelite army, he was afraid. Terror filled his heart. He asked the Lord for advice. But the Lord didn't answer him through dreams or prophets. He didn't answer him when Saul had the priest cast lots using the Urim. Saul spoke to his attendants. He said, "Find me a woman who gets messages from those who have died, and then I can go and ask her some questions." There's a woman like that in Endor. Saul put on different clothes so people wouldn't know who he was. At night, he and 2 of his men went to see the woman. "I want you to talk up a spirit for me," he said. "Bring up the spirit of the dead person I choose." But the woman said to him, "I know you must know what Saul has done. He has removed everyone who gets messages from those who have died. He has also removed everyone who talks to the spirits of the dead. He's thrown all of them out of the land. Are you trying to trap me? Why do you want to have me put to death?" Saul made a promise in the name of the Lord. He said to the woman, "You can be sure that the Lord lives, and you can be sure that you won't be punished for helping me." Then the woman asked, "Whose spirit should I bring up for you?" "Bring Samuel up." When the woman saw Samuel, she let out a loud scream. She said to Saul, "Why have you tricked me? You are King Saul." He said to her, "Don't be afraid. Tell me what you see." The woman said, "I see a ghostly figure. He's coming up out of the earth." "What does he look like?" Saul asked. "An old man wearing a robe is coming up," she said. Then Saul knew it was Samuel. He bowed down. He lay down flat with his face toward the ground. Saul said to Samuel, Samuel said to Saul, "Why have you troubled me by bringing me up from the dead? I'm having big problems." Saul said, "The Philistines are fighting against me. God has left me. He doesn't answer me anymore. He doesn't speak to me through prophets or dreams. So I've called on you to tell me what to do." Samuel said, "The Lord has left you. He has become your enemy. So why are you asking me what you should do? The Lord has spoken through me and has done what he said he would do. The Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hands. He has given it to one of your neighbors. He has given it to David. You didn't obey the law. You didn't show his great anger against the Amalekites by destroying them. So he's punishing you today. He'll hand both Israel and you over to the Philistines. Tomorrow you and your sons will be down with me. The Lord will also hand his house army over to the Philistines." And immediately Saul fell flat on the ground. When what Samuel had said was filled Saul with fear. His strength was gone. He hadn't eaten anything all that day and all that night. The woman went over to Saul because she saw that he was very upset. She said, "Look, I've obeyed you. I put my own life in danger by doing what you told me to do. So please listen to me. Let me give you some food. Eat it. Then you'll have the strength to go on your way." But he refused. He said, "I don't want anything to eat." Then his men joined the woman in begging him to eat. Finally, he paid attention to him. He got up from the ground and sat on the couch. The woman had a fat calf at her house. She killed it at once. She got some flour. She mixed it and baked some bread that didn't have any yeast in it. Then she set the food in front of Saul and his group. They ate it. And that same night, they got up and left. The Philistines gathered their whole army together at Aphek. Israel's army camped by the spring of water at Jezreel. The Philistine rulers marched down in groups of hundreds and thousands. David and his men were marching with Achish behind the others. The commanders of the Philistines asked, "Why are these Hebrews here?" Achish replied, "That's David, isn't it? Wasn't he an officer of Saul, the king of Israel? He's already been with me for more than a year. I haven't found any fault in him. That's been true from the day he left Saul until now." But the Philistine commanders were angry with Achish. They said, "Send David back. Let him return to the town you gave him. He must not go with us into battle. If he does, he will turn against us during the fighting. In fact, he might even cut off the heads of our own men. What better way could he choose to win back his master's favor? Isn't David the one the Israelites sang about when they danced?" They sang, "Saul has killed thousands of men. David has killed tens of thousands." So Achish called David over to him. He said, "You have been faithful to me, and that's just as sure as the Lord is alive. I would be pleased to have you serve with me in the army. I haven't found any fault with you. That's been true from the day you came to me until today. But the Philistine rulers aren't pleased to have you come along. So now go back to home in peace. Don't do anything that wouldn't please the Philistine rulers." What have I done? Lastly, what have you found against me from the day I came to you until now? Why can't I go and fight against your enemies? After all, you are my king and master." And she said, "You have been as pleasing to me as an angel of God." And the Philistine commander said, "We don't want David to go up with us into battle. So get up early in the morning. Take with you the men who used to serve Saul. Leave as soon as the sun begins to come up." So David and his men got up early in the morning. They went back to the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went up to Jezreel. On the third day, David and his men arrived in Ziklag. The Amalekites had attacked the people of the Negev desert. They had also attacked Ziklag and burned it. They had captured the women and everyone else in Ziklag. They had taken as prisoners the young people and old people alike. They didn't kill any of them. Instead, they carried them off as they went on their way. David and his men reached Ziklag. They saw that it had been destroyed by fire. They found out that their wives and sons and daughters had been captured. So David and his men began to weep out loud. They wept until they couldn't weep anymore. David's two wives had been captured. Their names were Ahinoam from Jezreel and Abigail from Carmel. Abigail was Nabal's widow. David was greatly shocked. He and his men were even talking about killing him by throwing stones at him. Both of them were very bitter because their sons and daughters had been taken away. But David was made strong by the Lord his God. Then David spoke to Abiathar the priest, the son of Ahimelech. He said, "Bring me the linen apron." Abiathar bring me the linen apron. Abiathar brought it to him. David asked the Lord for advice. He said, "Should I chase after the men who attacked Ziklag? If I do, will I catch up with them?" "Chase after them," the Lord answered. "You will certainly catch up with them. You will succeed in saving those who are captured." David and his 600 men came to the Besor Valley. Some of them stayed behind them. That's because 200 of them were too tired to go across the valley. But David and the other 400 continued the chase. David's men found an Egyptian in the field. They brought him to David. They gave him water to drink and food to eat. They gave him part of a cake of pressed figs. They also gave him 2 raisin cakes. After he ate them, he felt as good as me. That's because he hadn't eaten any food for 3 days and 3 nights. He hadn't drunk any water during that time either. David asked him, "Who do you belong to? Who do you come from? Where do you come from?" The man said, "I'm from Egypt. I'm the slave of an Amalekite. My master deserted me when I became ill 3 days ago. We attacked the people in the Negev desert of the Kerethites. We attacked the territory that belonged to Judah. We attacked the people in the Negev desert of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag. David asked him, "Can you lead me down to the men who attacked Ziklag?" He answered, "Make a promise to me in the name of God. Promise that you won't kill me. Promise that you won't hand me over to my master. Then I'll take you down to him." He led David down to where the men were. They scattered all over the countryside. They were eating and drinking and dancing wild. That's because they had taken a large amount of goods from those they had attacked. They had taken it from the land of the Philistines and from the people of Judah. David fought against them from sunset until the evening of the next day. None of them escaped except 400 young men. They rode off on camels and got away. David got everything back that the Amalekites had taken. That included his 2 wives. Nothing was missing. Not one young person or old person or boy or girl was missing. None of the goods or anything else the Amalekites had taken was missing. David brought everything back. He brought back all the flocks and herds. His men drove them on ahead of the other livestock. They said, "Here's what David has captured." Then David came to the 200 men who had been too tired to follow him. They had been left behind in the battle ground. They came out to welcome David and the men with him. As David and his men approached, he asked them how they were. For some of the men who had gone out with David were evil. They wanted to stir up trouble. They said, "The 200 men didn't go out into battle with us, so we won't share with them the goods we brought back. But each man can take his wife and children and go ahead." David replied, "No, my friends, you must not hold back their share of what the Lord has given us. He has kept us safe. He has handed over to us the men who attacked us. So no one will pay any attention to what you're saying. Each man who stayed with the supplies will receive the same share as each man who went down to the battle. Everyone's share will be the same." David made that a law and rule for Israel. It has been followed from that day until now. David reached Ziklag. He sent some of the goods to the elders of Judah. They were his friends. He said, "Here's a gift for you. It's half the things we took from the Lord's enemies." David sent some goods to the elders in Bethel, Ramoth, Negev, and Jattir. He sent some to the elders in Aroah, Siphmoth, Eshtemoa, and Rakhal. He sent some to the elders in the towns of the Jerahmeelites and Kenites. He sent some to the elders in Hormah, Bor, Ashan, Athak, and Hebron. He also sent some to the elders in all the other places where he and his men had wandered around. Proverbs 5. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my wise sayings. Then you will continue to have good health. Your lips will keep on speaking words of life. A woman who commits adultery has lips that drip honey. What she says is smoother than olive oil, but in the end she is like bitter poison. She cuts like a sword that has 2 edges. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. She doesn't give any thought to a way of life. She has a path of no direction, but she doesn't realize it. My sons, listen to me. Don't turn away from what I say. Stay on a path far away from that evil woman. Don't even go near the door of her house. If you do, you will lose your honor to other people. You will give your self-respect to someone who is mean. Strangers will use up all your wealth. Your hard work will make someone else rich. And at the end of your life, you will grow. Your skin and your body will be worn out. You will say, "How I hated to take advice. How my heart refused to be corrected. I would not obey my teachers. I wouldn't listen to those who taught me. I was in deep trouble." It happened right in front of the whole assembly of God's people. Drink water from your own well. Drink running water from your own spring. Should your springs pour out into the streets? Should your streams of water pour out in public places? No, let them belong to you alone. Never share them with strangers. May your family be blessed. May the wife you marry when you are young make you happy. She is like a loving doe, a graceful youth. May your breast always satisfy you. May you always be captured by her love. My son, why be captured by another man's wife? Why hug a woman who has gone astray? The Lord watches your ways. He studies your past. Sinners are trapped by their own evil acts. They are held tight by the rope of their sins. They will die because they refuse to be corrected. Their sins will capture them because they were very foolish. Psalm 69. God, save me. My troubles are like a flood. I'm up to my neck in them. I'm sinking in deep mud. I have no firm place to stand. I am out in deep water. The waves roar over me. I'm worn out from calling for help. My throat is very dry. My eyes grow tired, looking for my God. Those who hate me without any reason are more than the hairs on my head. Many people who don't have any reason to be my enemies are trying to destroy me. They force me to give back what I didn't steal. God, you know how foolish I am. My guilt is not hidden from me. Lord, you are the Lord who rules over me. May those who put their hope in you not be dishonored because of me. May you are the God of Israel. May those who worship you not be put to shame because of me. Because of you, people laugh at me. My face is covered with shame. I'm an outsider to my own family. I'm a stranger to my own mother's children. My great love for your house destroys me. Those those who make fun of you make fun of me. When I weep and go without eating, they laugh at me. When I put on rough clothing to show how sad I am, people make jokes about me. Those who gather in public places and make fun of me. God, answer me because you love me so much. Save me, as you always do. Save me from the trouble I'm in. It's like slippery mud, so don't let me sink in it. Save me from those who hate me. Save me from the deep water that I'm in. Don't let the floods cover me. Don't let the deep water swallow me up. Don't let the grave close its mouth over me. Lord, answer me because your love is so good. Turn it to me because you are so kind. Don't turn your face away from me. Dance me quickly. I'm in trouble. Come near me and save me. Set me free from my enemies. You know how they make fun of me. They dishonor me and put me to shame. You know all about my enemies. They have broken my heart by saying evil things about me. They have left me helpless. I looked for pity, but I didn't find it. I looked for someone to comfort me, but I didn't find anyone. They put bitter spices in my food. They gave me vinegar when I was thirsty. Let their feast be a trap in the snare. Let my enemies get what's coming to them. Let their eyes grow weak so they can't see. Let their backs be bent forever. Pour out your anger on them. Let them feel what it's like. May their homes be deserted. May no one live in their tents. They attack those you have wounded. They talk about the pain of those you have hurt. Charge them with one crime after another. Don't save them. May their names be erased from the book of life. Don't include them in the list of those who do right. I'm in pain. I'm in deep trouble. God, save me and keep me safe. I will praise God's name by singing to him. I will bring him glory by giving him thanks. That will please the Lord more than offering him an ox. It will please him more than offering him a bull with its horns and hooves. Poor people will see it and be glad. The hearts of those who worship God will be strengthened. The Lord hears those who are in need. He doesn't forget his people in prison. He lets heaven and earth praise him. He let the oceans and everything that moves in them praise him. And God will say to Zion, he will build the cities of Judah again, and people will live in them and earn the land. The children of those who serve God will receive. Those who love him will live there. Now that's done, I should now do the Lord's Prayer. Please bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as you have forgiven our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.